Hey everyone, Jeffrey Colon from Microsoft and another episode of The Disruptive Marketer. Hope you're enjoying it. This week I find myself in Detroit for Digital Summit Detroit, or Detroit Digital Summit I should say. And my conversation or my presentation with everyone at Detroit Digital Summit Detroit has been around the concept of disruptive content marketing and how to actually set up your organization so you can take advantage of the new realities of a fragmented media landscape. And it got me thinking. I was using the analogy while here in the Motor City of the best content marketers actually approach the craft much like a DJ. They read the crowd, they entertain the crowd, they educate the crowd, they curate content, they produce their own content. But what if we used a sports analogy? What if we tried to think of how best to behave in the 21st century in order to get the most out of our marketing? And I thought to myself, maybe if we had to think of a sport or a physical activity when it comes to marketing in the here and now, I like to think of agility, and that agility actually helps you connect more with others in the moment and the contextual relevance of a constantly moving media landscape. So how do you become more agile? How do you actually make your marketing organizations learn from the practice of yoga? And if we think about the opposite of someone who is agile, we think of someone who is physically strong. They can lift a lot of weight. They're very powerful. So a weightlifter sort of comes into that particular analogy. And that's pretty much how marketing had worked for the last 50 years. You wanted to be the most powerful. You wanted to be the most influential. You wanted to be the strongest. But that doesn't necessarily set one up for success in the new reality, which is you can't just go out and say, I'm going to dictate what people want to know about me. Because most people are going to say, hey, that's great. I'm just going to pay attention to something else. Very much like the weightlifter that says, watch me here, I'm going to bench press 400 pounds. And you're like, whatever, I'm going to go and meditate here in a corner by myself. So we have to think about how we tie into the zeitgeist of the moment. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from the practice of yoga as marketers to connect with others. And also, yoga is not a competitive sport. It is all about finding sort of your inner peace while also being very physically demanding and challenging. And I think the learning lesson for marketers there is that marketing isn't so much about competing with others as collaborating with your customers and working with them in a way that you can find new solutions, new innovations, new products, and new services. So hopefully we can all get to a higher place. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode of The Disruptive Marketer. I'm Jeffrey Colon from Microsoft. Follow me on Twitter at DJGEOFFE and tune in next week for another episode of The Disruptive Marketer. Namaste.